All right. Welcome. I'm very excited to talk about this topic today. So I'm Corey Walmsley. I'm CEO of Aurora Coriolis Publishing, and today we have Carolyn Choate with us. And a lot of times I talk about book writing because that's always the first thing you think about. How do you write the book? How do you actually get through the book? And yeah, like that's a big part of the process, but you have to think about everything that comes afterwards too. And sometimes that can actually kind of derail the process of writing because some people will sit down and be like, I'm going to write this book. And then they go, well, wait a second, what am I supposed to do with this afterwards? How do I actually use this in my business? How am I going to generate sales? What's the point? So sometimes that will stop people from writing. And I'm really glad that we have you here so we can tell people, hey, you don't have to stop writing. You actually can have a plan. You can figure things out and know what to do after the book is published. So Carolyn, welcome. It's so wonderful having you here.
Thank you.
Would you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love sales funnels, and I think that's unusual, so I'm told, but I just love it. It's like a little puzzle and seeing how all the pieces fit together. So I have been building sales funnels for the last few years. It was kind of a surprise to discover that I liked it and was good at it because I have my education in creative writing. So I have 2 degrees in fiction writing, and I self-published a romance novel back in 2009. Still makes passive income, like $10 a month.
And that's something.
But yeah, I really struggled to find my place in the world, and I was going from entry-level job to entry-level job. I hated everything. I felt like, well, I'm just not ambitious. I'm not a career person. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. That's my destiny. So it took a while. I finally got married and had kids, and I discovered that being a mom is really freaking hard, and I was not nearly as good at it as I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
And I also just could not stop side hustling. I
Okay.
just love to feel productive and to see the results of things. And I was just always fascinated by how people move around the internet. So when I discovered sales funnels, I was like, oh, yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
And my friends were like, does not make sense. We don't know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first hint that I was like, do I have a talent for something? That was the first time in my life I ever felt good at anything. I was like 35. So so I dove in and I started building sales funnels, and I did some internships. I got hired by the people that I did internships with, and I started building my business. And I I think I bring a very creative spin to it because I didn't come from a marketing education. I came from a creative writing education.
Yeah.
And so I've just recently started doing the book funnels. So it sort of came full circle. I was speaking with a friend who's also a publisher, and she said, you know what? My authors don't know what to do after the launch day.
Yeah.
We get so focused on, yes, launch, we're going to get a bestseller status, we're going to have a party.
Mm.
And then, like, afterwards, okay, maybe I point to my book and say, you should hire me for a speaking gig because I am an expert. I have a book, but that's about it. And so she was like, they need funnels. They don't understand how much more their book could be doing for them and growing their business. So that was like light bulb. I knew this is the perfect thing for me to be doing. So
Yeah.
I went all in on it.
Definitely. I love that story. I love how you moved through and found exactly what you like doing. That's so awesome. I also have a background in writing. I did literature, so I wasn't the creative writing. Mine was all talking about someone else's writing. And yeah, that's an interesting background to bring to really anything because you have that creativity and you have those, like, I can see things from multiple perspectives, sort of point of view, if that's a point of view. um, yeah, so obviously, being somebody who is a creative, you probably have a huge heart for authors. And I love that you understand that problem, that, they get their book out there and they just don't know what to do with it. So tell me a little bit about why it's important to have something set up after publication. Like that's something I know, but I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, the books, if you don't have a plan for it, it just fades into obscurity. If you don't tell people about your book, then nobody knows about it. But the great benefit of having a funnel, I mean, there's so many benefits, but one of the great benefits of having a funnel is that you always know if somebody asks you about it, where to point people. You
Mhm.
have a home and a place where your book lives, and you can say, oh, you're interested in the book that I wrote. Here it is. This is the one place that you can always send people. And
Mhm.
it introduces them to your world. And presumably your book is on a topic that is related to what your business is. So
Mhm.
it's like a stepping stone into learning more about you, getting comfortable with you, learning who you are, what you do, what's meaningful to you. It's like a great calling card that brings them into your world. And that's how it can be a way to continue to bring in leads and warm up leads. So it's like, why wouldn't you set it
Yeah.
up on your website in a way that is doing the selling for you, really?
Yeah. It makes so much sense. Yeah. And something I've talked about before is like you are warming them up by letting them read this book. Like they're a hot lead at the end of the book. So why wouldn't you want to continue the conversation? Why wouldn't you want to be like, oh, and here's something else, and here's more,
Here's the
come
next
back to
step.
my
Yeah.
website. Yeah, like
That's
all
how
of that
funnel
kind of
builders
stuff.
think. What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the
Yeah.
next step? Always be leading them somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Now, are you talking about because you mentioned like if somebody's interested in your book, going to a web page that has the book there, or are you also talking about like after the book, like after they've read the book? Or are they two different
So
things or
yeah, you can kind of build a funnel into your book if you put something at the end, in the back of the book that says, like, by the way, if you enjoyed this, you could get on a call with me. Here's the
Mhm.
link, or the print copy has a QR code. But the funnels that I build for people are using the book to warm up cold traffic. So that means people who have not encountered you before, they don't know who you are, they haven't read the book yet, they come to your website, and the most crucial thing is the website offers them, when I set it up, it's usually like a teaser of your book.
Okay.
Now, you can do it as giving away the whole book or selling the book for a low cost, which is what my personal funnel is. Um, but what I usually set up is like, get the first chapter for free, enter
Mhm.
your email address, and get that first chapter. The most important part is to tell people why, because
Mhm.
you know that your book is awesome, but
Right.
this person has never met you before. They don't know that your book is awesome. They don't know what it's going to do for them. So I see a lot of authors just put like, here's my book, here's the Amazon link, that's it.
Yeah.
And you really got to have at least a sentence or two about reading this will benefit you in this way, even if it's inspiration or entertainment,
Mhm.
whatever it is. So they give their email address, they get the PDF teaser of the book, and then you have the opportunity to communicate with them. And this is this is why funnels are very focused on email addresses, because otherwise, if somebody comes to your website, they're interested in what you do, but if they're not ready to purchase something right then they disappear and you never see them again. So
Mhm.
you're losing a lot of potential leads because hardly anybody is going to be ready to purchase that first moment they arrive on your website. So when you get their email address and you give them something of value, it gives you that opportunity to keep on talking to them, to keep telling them about what you do until they are ready to purchase. So I'll build an email sequence that, the first day they get the email that delivers the ebook, or the piece of the book, and tells them more about your inspiration, why you wrote it, what it means to you.
Mhm.
It humanizes you, it helps them see who you are and your heart. And then over the next several days, introducing more about what you do and your mission in the world, and really bringing these people along this journey with you, because marketing is storytelling, if you ask me.
Right.
And then the end of the sequence is offering them your paid service, saying, you know, if you've enjoyed all of this and you want to go further, then here are the options to work with me. And some people by that time will be ready because they've read the teaser, they've read maybe the whole book, maybe what you're offering is a group program and the book is a free bonus that goes with it.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of different ways to structure it, but it's always thinking about what is your end goal? What do you want people purchasing at the end? And laying out a path that makes it super clear for them to get to that end goal. People want to feel led by the hand and not like they're left on their own to figure out what they're
Right.
supposed to do next.
Right. You have to be obvious about it. Like, here you are. Now you go here. Now you go here. I love
Yeah.
how you
And
talk
it's a
about
gift
that.
for them. It's
Yeah.
not, yeah, it's like it helps you, but it also helps them. They're not feeling like, okay, I asked for this thing. Now I'm wandering alone in the woods, no idea what to do.
Yeah, that's not a good place to leave them. Yeah, and it really is an art to guide people through this path too. It's not just like, I'm sure we've all read really crappy emails before where it's like, hi, here's this, or like somebody just dumps a story all over you and you're like, I was not ready for that. I did get an email like that one time where it was just so shocking that I just immediately got off the list. Like it was just not well structured. It was not crafted to guide me along. I was not ready for the dump that I got there. So you really do have to put a lot of thought into like, how do you want to get from point A to point B, and what is point B? In that case, it was not at all. Like this was a detour. This was a nasty gas station. Like you don't want to take people there. Uh, yeah, so I love how you talk about that, about, guiding people through and, not leaving them in the woods and doing all of that. I kind of got sidetracked there because remembering that email is just like, so are there certain kinds of books that this works better for? I know earlier we were kind of chatting in the Facebook thread, someone had asked a question about that. Is there like an ideal type of book that you want to do this with, or can it work with pretty much anything?
Funnels work for everything.
Okay.
As a funnel builder, everything I see is a funnel problem. But yeah, it does. It works for any kind of book, but I don't usually create them for fiction books
Okay.
because it really helps to have a higher cost offer on the back end, as we say. So yeah, it's challenging because a lot of fiction writers, the only other thing they have to sell is more books at a low cost. So there you're looking at volume, get a lot of sales of a small cost offer.
Mhm.
But if you're in business and you've done a nonfiction book, then it really is a great way to introduce what you do and the bigger things that they can get involved in. And then it's worth the money of setting up the funnel and making it work, because if you get a sale or two through it, then it's paid for itself and it never, it's 24 hours, the funnel never turns off. So
Mhm.
it's always running for you. It's making your website really into like a machine that takes care of the sales. I woke up this morning to an email that a book had sold. So I was like, yes, making money when
Oh.
you sleep. That is the dream. I made a whole $5 while I slept. So
But it's something, and that's the $5. Is that something that's at the beginning of the funnel? We're talking about like building up and
yeah, so
creating.
my personal funnel is a $4.99 ebook that walks you through how to set up a book funnel. So it's a book about book funnels, so you can book funnel while you're book funneling.
Wow, I think we
But
ripped open something in the space-time continuum there.
and then there's other, it makes other offers along the way. I try not to do too many of what we call the upsells because that can drive people crazy. I have been through funnels that are like, okay, you didn't want that. How about this? How about this? How about this? And you're like, could you stop, please?
Yeah.
So I have one upsell, and then the thank you page where you can download the ebook and printable worksheets, and there's a video walkthrough and like all these resources to put together.
Okay.
And the book helps introduce you to how the whole book funnel is structured and how you can do it yourself. But of course, at the same time, it says, by the way, if you don't want to be spending the energy and the headache of setting it up yourself, that's something that I do, and you can hire me.
Mhm.
So it's a lead generation tool. And what's nice about making it $4.99 is that it's lead generation that pays you. You're not spending money to bring in a lead. That lead is spending money to come onto your list, and they're warmer when they come in that way. It's what we call a self-liquidating offer funnel. So basically, I'm running ads that go to the funnel, and that $4.99 pays for the ads. So it evens out, and I get my leads for free. It's very scalable. Might be
Okay.
getting very technical here, but
No, well, for me, like that all makes sense. I think it sounds genius, first of all.
it
So
is
you're
not my
talking about,
idea. I
so
didn't come
you're
up
talking,
with this.
yeah, well, I mean, we all, our ideas are all, fed off of each other. So I think, yeah. So what you were saying, in case, if I can try to rephrase this and hopefully explain it a different way that also makes sense to people, because what you said made sense to me. So what you're saying is that you have an initial product that's a low cost, and then you're spending that same amount over here on Facebook ads that drive people to that product. That's correct. Okay.
That's right.
And
And
then,
then they're on my email list so they can learn
yeah.
more about me. Through the book, they can learn more about what I do and whether it's something that they actually want. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, this all sounds just, it sounds like common sense. It sounds very reasonable and like something we should all go, oh yeah, we should be doing that.
Yeah,
Um,
why not? Why wouldn't you? Like I said,
yeah.
even my fiction book is making passive sales. I published it 12 years ago, and I used SEO to make a landing page, and I do absolutely no promotion. So SEO is short for search engine optimization. It's pretty complicated these days.
Mhm.
It used to be real easy to get yourself found in search results, but there's so many pages now that it has gotten complicated. And it also takes time to work, but it's a great foundation to put on your website because it does start bringing in this completely passive income where people are searching for the problem that you solve, and your product comes up, your low cost or free thing solves that problem, brings them into your world. You didn't have to do anything to get that lead.
That was amazing. Um, so I was thinking of this earlier and I forgot to ask. So we're warming people up through this funnel and, giving them value, giving them other things that they could purchase if that aligns with what their needs are. Do you recommend doing just stuff that is, what's the word I'm looking for? Like just stuff that's sitting out there, like a free, like a low cost course, those kind of things? Or do you recommend putting in, book a call with me or book a mini session or things like that? Or is it really just kind of up to what they already
Yeah, it
have?
goes back to what your goals are.
Okay.
If you're selling by doing discovery calls, then find a place to work that into it,
Mhm.
such as at the end of the book or in an email. It says, did you enjoy the book? If so, you can book a call with me here. We can talk about you.
Mhm.
Usually booking a call, even though it's free, it's not often the best place to start
Mhm.
because it's a little bit intense for people. I liken it to if you're going shopping and you walk into a store. Some people love it if the salesperson comes right up to you and it's like, how can I help you? What can I do? But a lot of people are like, I just wanted to see what's in the store. I'm not quite ready to have a conversation with somebody who's standing right there going, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? So
Yeah.
that's kind of what that free call is like. It's like, I'm not quite
Okay.
ready to speak to somebody in person about this yet. I just want to look.
Okay.
So giving somebody something that they can just look. As I said before, there's just a ton of options for how you can structure it and how you can lay everything out into a path. So you want to spend the time thinking, putting yourself in the shoes of who your perfect ideal client is, and imagine yourself walking down that path what's the next thing that you're going to need an answer for? What's the
Mhm.
next thing that you're going to wonder? Try to build your funnel so that it rises to meet them at each point and provides them with exactly the information they need in that moment. And it's not always going to work because everybody's different,
Mhm.
but that is a good basis if you're able to really envision who your target client is and what their process for making a decision about buying something is.
Okay, that all makes so much sense. Thank you for clarifying that. Um, so, let's say somebody wanted to build their own book funnel. Of course, if you get all confused, we recommend working with Carolyn. But if you want to do your own book funnel, let's say that, I have a book, I have the Spark method for my business, and that's a book about how to write a book. So I have kind of the same thing going on.
Yeah, very
Um,
meta.
yeah. So if you were to take that business book and you wanted to do a funnel, like, can you share a couple best practices? I know you've already given us so much good stuff, but just a couple of things you would think about at the very beginning.
Yeah, I guess I should talk a little bit about the technical aspects of setting this up.
Mhm.
There are a lot of options out there for how you make this work.
Mhm.
And so for your book, what we would do is we would want to get a PDF of the first chapter,
Mhm.
or if the first chapter isn't the most ideal intro, but one would think that it would be. But if there's like a part that particularly will call to people, we'd want to get a PDF of that ready. And then you need website hosting. So you need some place to be a home on the internet,
Mhm.
and have the opt-in form that they fill out where they put in their email address and their name. And that connects to an email platform that has automations that allow you to send that sequence that you've written, including delivering the PDF, and then leading them back to either a discovery call or a sales page for your bigger program. Um, I lost my train of thought.
So we've
But
got.
so yeah, you're gonna need a place to host a website, and the email like CRM, and maybe a booking system. So a lot of people have a bunch of different things for that. It might be Squarespace that connects to MailChimp, that connects to Calendly. I personally like to use an all-in-one builder, of which there are many. Kajabi is a very well-known one. I use Kartra, which is very similar but costs less. And it has all those functions. It has a course platform. So if what you're leading people towards is a course, it can all be in that one spot.
Mhm.
And a question that I get a lot is, well, is this a homepage or is this a whole separate thing? Um, One of the things that we do as funnel builders is stay focused on one goal at a time. And so again, it goes back to creating that path. So if you have a homepage already and it's got like all of your offers and all of your information, it's got blog posts, it's got podcasts, it's got, you know, 5 different pages that it could link out to. That is not an ideal place to send brand new traffic to people who have never met you before, because they may get analysis paralysis and not know what to choose. So we always think through their journey and choose for them.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of the opt-in page, is to be very, very clear. The one goal is to get people to sign up for that email. And then each email has its one goal. The sales page has its one goal.
Okay.
Everything is very fixated on getting them to whatever that next step is. Um, so yeah, that I think as a best practice would be important to know, is to stay focused with either a completely separate opt-in page where you're sending all new people to, like, this is your link in your social media bios, this is your email signature link, or if it's on your homepage, to make it really front and center, the first thing people see before they scroll, or even as a pop-up.
Okay.
Pop-ups get a bad name because those of us who like grew up in the 90s, like, pop-ups were awful at that
Oh yeah.
time. But you'll notice a lot of people use them now in a pretty tasteful way. It's called an exit intent pop-up, which means
Okay.
when somebody is intending to leave your website and the computer kind of figures out that you're moving your mouse towards that X button, and that's when it comes up, and it doesn't flash lights. It's not a but it just says, hey, by the way, before you leave, would you like this valuable resource? And if they are a good lead for you, this resource is going to be something that they absolutely want. And they're going to go, oh my gosh, all I have to give for it is an email address? Yes. And
Okay.
if they aren't the right lead for you, then they don't. And that's great, because the wrong people don't end up on your email list.
Yep. Okay. That's some really good information to think about. And again, it's very aligned with your mission, your message, all that kind of stuff. I love that it's like that. So really helpful. Thank you. And you
I
mentioned,
believe in kind and gentle sales funnels as
yes.
opposed to bro marketing
Yeah.
baseball cap sales funnels.
Oh yeah. You don't want to be like beating people up and in their face. And yeah, I don't like any of that. I don't think anybody does. So when we had talked previously, I think you mentioned that you had like a course on this or some way that people can get more information. I know we gave a lot today, but there's always more to learn. So what do you offer?
Yeah, I guess I really have 3 tiers of ways to learn more from me. I have the $4.99 ebook, which is called You Published a Book, Now What? And that walks you through setting up a sales funnel, why you should have it,
Mhm.
things to think about. It's got worksheets and bonuses and stuff like that included with
Okay.
it. I have the follow along course, which is like video instructions for each step and the recommended tech, as well as how to bootstrap the tech as cheaply as possible. That is $299.
Okay.
And then I also have a VIP day where I just do all of it for you in one day. So you go from 0 book funnel to complete book funnel ready for traffic in one day. And that is $1,800. So that
Okay.
is a premium VIP offer.
And I think sometimes when people look at pricing like that, it's like, oh my goodness, do I want to do that? Like, what is it worth to you to take that off your plate and not worry about whether it's done right? Like it took me a few years to get there, but anymore I'm like, this is not something I want to try to wrap my head around. Like I would much rather just pass it to somebody. But yeah,
Yeah. And you have
so
to think, like, the longer you don't have a funnel, you're missing out. Those
right,
leads are just disappearing.
right.
So, like, even if you get one sale from it, if you're a coach, then that's probably worth it. And it's
Yeah.
going to be there, like I said, just in the background, doing its thing, selling for you. And you're not
Mhm.
losing those people that arrive at your website not ready to
Yeah.
purchase from you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very important stuff. So we gave tons of good information today, but for anyone who watches this later, you are welcome to comment below and we will answer you. Carolyn will share her wisdom on book funnels because they are super important for selling your book and also growing your business. So we're also going to put the link below so people can find her book funnel and all the stuff that she offers, and you can reach out to her if you need help. And where can we find you? Where do you like to connect with people?
Well, my website is www.increaseyouриmpact.life. I need to update it actually to put the ebook on the front page. I'll work on that today. And I also love to hang out on Instagram. I'm also Increase Your Impact there.
Very good. Awesome. Well, we didn't have any questions during today's session, but if we get more, we're going to answer them. Thank you so much for joining me today and helping us out with the stuff that often trips up authors once we get our books done. So we
Oh,
really
it's such a
appreciate that.
pleasure. I could talk about funnels all day.
I'm sure. All right. Thank you, Carolyn. Thanks for everybody who watched.